everyone, I'm Joanna.
And I'm Jenny.
And this is Hyphenated, the podcast about living in the hyphen. You know, Jenny and I were like, oh my God, what do we talk about this week? Like, what could people want to hear about? And I just randomly said, oh man, I kind of want to talk about the worst dates I've ever been on, because now that there's so much space between when they happened and now, I feel like I can laugh about it. But for years, I couldn't laugh because they were so freaking bad.
Yeah, the moment you said that, I had a flashback of my worst date. It just smacked me across the face. And I was like, yes, absolutely, we need to talk about this. I don't give a fuck.
So this was a violent slap across the face. Like, your past was awful.
Oh my God, because you know what it was? It was cringe.
Oh, I love cringe.
Just very, very cringe.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I live for this. I feel like this is our Sex and the City. You know what I mean? But instead of nightclubs and fashion, it's like massive cringe.
Please, that was not my dating life whatsoever.
Yeah, me neither.
I think I was in high school when this happened, which adds to the cringe.
Anything high school related automatically is just like, you don't know who you are, so you're just being awful at being a person. And so is everyone else.
Oh God, dude. Yeah, I don't even know how to start.
Oh my God, please, I can't wait.
And you know, I feel like some folks who are listening will probably walk away from my date story thinking, oh, well, that's nice. That's romantic. What's wrong with you? But I'm sorry, dude. I'm a bit of a cynic, and I don't like extremely mushy romance stuff either. So that could add to the fact that it was cringe for me specifically. But anyway, I never dated anybody from my high school, by the way. I didn't date any of the guys in my high school. I always dated outside. I don't know how that happened. I would just meet them at parties. And
oh my God, Jenny, literally me too. It's like, don't shit where you eat. I don't want to be learning calculus and being nervous at the same time. Like, calculus is too hard. I don't want to have a crush in my freaking calculus class.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway. I'm glad I didn't, because for that exact fucking reason. Y también, like, you break up and then you see him dating someone else in front of you and like, ugh.
No, that
shit's too much drama. I didn't need any more distractions in school.
No, you were good. ADD was enough for you.
It was enough for me. So there was another school that was near me. It was a private school called Florida Christian. And I had friends that went to that school. So I don't know how this happened, but he was like a soccer player and he was a white guy named Michael Whitus. So let's just start there. A white guy named Michael Whitus. He was kind of an old soul for his age. He was, I would say he was a fairly attractive white guy. He loved his dad. His dad is a pilot, and he was very well spoken, very smart. And he and I dated for a while. It wasn't just like one date. We did go on several dates, but this specific date is one for the books, at least for me. So there's this mall in Miami called The Falls, and it's a very pretty mall. It's outdoor, and it's called The Falls because throughout the middle of the mall, like as you're walking around, there's like a
waterfall?
Yeah, it's like a brook, you know, like running water with like stones, and they decorate it really. It's a very zen mall compared to the average Miami mall.
I also love that they tried to bring the outdoors in.
Yeah.
They're like, you want to shop, but also want to feel you're in nature? Here's a brook.
You know, honestly, I wish they were all like that, because shopping sucks. And to me, it's overstimulating for my ADHD. So it's like, I'm fucking done with this, Zara. And just walk outside and just stare at the brook.
So beautiful.
And just find your place again in the world.
Find your zen.
Find your zen.
So you were at the falls and you were going to fall in love with this Michael.
Can you imagine Jenny Whitus? Anyway, I don't take anybody's last name, but it's fine.
I think your career would be over.
Well, people would call him Michael Whiteass. So there's that. So, okay, so we're on this date, and God bless him. For a high schooler, he was really trying to make this like as romantic as possible, considering it's still a fucking mall. So I remember we went and got ice cream, and then we walked into this bookstore, and I feel like this guy in his head lives in a romance novel. And so we go into this tiny bookstore, and he has us sit down on the floor, because it's not like a Barnes and Nobles. It's a very small store. You really shouldn't be sitting on the floor. But he's like, he thinks it's romantic. So he's like, let's sit on the floor. He takes out a Star Trek book. Look, I watched Star Trek growing up. My dad's a Trekkie. I'm more team Star Wars. He was too nerdy even for me.
He was such a nerd. but for the wrong franchise.
Yeah, because I think what happened is that a couple days prior we were on the phone and he overheard me humming the theme song to Star Trek. I don't know what happened. He thought I was a massive Trekkie, and because I liked him, I was like, yeah, I'm the biggest fucking Trekkie. So we're sitting in this bookstore. He pulls out this giant Star Trek book and he starts explaining to me just random shit about Star Trek. Like he just starts.
I'm so sorry. Did he think a good date was just him mansplaining Star Trek?
Yes, that's literally what it was. He was mansplaining to me the Star Trek universe and their characters and whatever. After that is when things got more cringe. So again, the brook, right? The falls. There's an area where you kind of can walk down in a spiral all the way down where you're almost near the water and you can touch it. But it's all fenced out by like these wooden picket fence.
I need to go to this mall. I'm so confused, but please continue.
We do need to go to this mall. We're just chilling there. You know, it's a nice atmosphere. But then all of a sudden, he asks me to slow dance with him.
What?
Yes, he asks me to. People are probably like, Jenny, you're a bitch. Like, this sounds like a real nice date.
Like a beautiful teen movie, Fault in Our Stars type shit.
I don't like that shit, bro. Fuck. So anyway, he asked me to slow dance with him, but then there's a bunch of like mojone fucking middle school kids with their pantalones by their ankles type of, you know, thug life, but I live in Kendall kind of kids. And they're like literally watching this whole thing unfold. So he starts, because there's like music playing, I don't know, some fucking Frank Sinatra shit. And he starts like slow dancing with me. And again, this would be romantic if we were married for 50 years. I could see that flying with me
Maybe
then.
60. Maybe 60.
But like, I've just started dating this guy. And also, like, I hate to say it, but he's white. And like, some white guys are just awkward. Okay, moving on. So we're dancing. And then these kids start throwing things at us and making fun of us. But he doesn't want to stop. He's like, I'm going to keep dancing with my lady. He would talk like that. He would speak like an older gentleman, like that.
He's like a freaking knight.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe he time traveled. I don't know what the fuck this was. So
well, wait, Jenny, in that moment, you understood the little middle schoolers. You were like, yo, dude, honestly, I'd throw shit at me too.
Dying. I was like, okay, can we please stop? Then at some point, this all feels like a dream that I'm trying to recount, like a nightmare. There's a point where he spills ice cream on himself, and we were near the bathrooms, and I thought, okay, he like got it on his pants or something, which made it worse. It was like around his crotch area. So he spills fucking mint chocolate chip ice cream on his BB through his fucking khakis, because yes, he was wearing khakis, and he didn't go to the bathroom. He decides to jump the wooden fence into the brook.
No, into the fake brook, by the way. It's fake. It's not even real. You're telling me there's a canal there that's naturally there? I'd be like, okay, there's a fake brook.
You know what? It was a very Dwight Schrute thing of him to do, now that I think about it. Like, just this odd character choice to climb the fence instead. I think he thought he was impressing me. He's like, I don't need to go and use a sink. I'm going to go into the brook, into nature, and I'm going to cleanse myself. And he literally does like a crazy squat on like this giant rock. And he starts like scooping water onto his dick and like cleaning off the ice cream. And I'm just like, okay, this is not whatever.
I kind of love that visual of a high schooler just like thinking it's almost like every Latino legend always starts with like a woman was washing herself in the brook. And it's like maybe he tried to acoplarse to your culture. It was like, oh my God, I've read a lot of Latino stories and everyone's always in a brook kind of like semi-naked. And then they a spell is cast upon them.
I'm surprised that like he didn't randomly show up on a white horse or I'll go to that degree, because this was just checking so many corny romance novel boxes. And so whatever, that happened. By the end of the night, he wanted to kiss me and I didn't, because I had lost my boner so badly that I was like, I don't know if I want to engage here in this.
Okay, but Jenny, this cringe had 3 acts.
But this
was a 3-act cringe. Like there wasn't 1, it was 3. Like I understand, I get it.
There's a
my
4th act.
4.
There's a 4th. There's an after credit scene.
Epilogue.
Okay, so
there's an after credit.
So this is what he was trying to kiss me, and this is where I really lost it. I'm sorry. I just don't. This is so stereotypical, like a white guy trying to be Rico Suave because I'm Cuban. Here we go. So he had a soccer match the next day, and so I kind of used the excuse of like, I feel like a little tickle in my throat, like I'm maybe coming down with a sore throat. So like maybe we shouldn't kiss because I don't want to get you sick for your big soccer tournament. And so he took me around the mall and he leaned himself against the wall and like pushed me close to him. And he goes, here we go.
Oh God.
This is so bad. He meant this with all seriousness. Okay. I know it's going to sound stupid, but here we go. He was like, I want a beso from Jenny. Beso, beso, beso.
No!
He said it more than once. And it was, again, in all serious. Again, this guy's like an old soul. He came on a DeLorean from the 1920s. I don't know. He was like dead serious. He looked down at me. He's like, I don't care. I want a beso from Jenny. Beso, beso, beso.
Beso.
Am I Beetlejuice? Why do you have to say it 3 times?
Oh my God, I think it might be.
Like he thinks if I say it 3 times, she's gonna kiss me.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's interesting that you said that he's from the past? I love that like every story that like an old like a grandma or a great aunt tells you, it's like they think it's romantic, but if I put myself in their shoes, I'm like, this is like really cringe. Like he showed up at my house for 30 days straight and insisted on singing to me. I'm like, that sounds awful, Grandma. That sounds terrible. What are you talking about? I have shit to do. What do you mean? Like, you know, this guy would have killed in like 1932.
He would have, you know, he would have been a smash hit. But, you know, in today's day, I mean, he's probably married now with like 20 kids. I don't know. But what caused me to finally end my relationship, whatever you want to call it, with him was it was on another date. And it's because we hung out with a mutual friend named Chris. And this was at Sunset Place, another popular Miami mall. And there was a giant Virgin Megastore. And we went upstairs. And back then you could hang out upstairs. It's where all the magazines were and the books. And you can just kind of chill. So he opened his legs up. Again, he always wore like these cargo pants, like these khaki cargo pants. And I sat in between his legs, you know, not like facing him. Like my back was facing. You're just kind of like, you know, as if we were going on a bobsled. And there was nothing sexual about that to me. That's just how we were sitting and reading books. Well, he told my friend Chris. No, actually, it was the other way around. He was sitting between my legs. That's what it was.
That's better.
This is what happened. And he told Chris, I could tell, because I was still a virgin then. I was a virgin throughout all of fucking high school. I literally didn't want to fuck anybody. I was like, fuck off.
I mean, if this was the type of dates you were going on, I don't blame you.
He was like, he told my friend Chris, he's like, he goes, oh, I'm going to get Jenny in bed. I'm going to fuck Jenny very soon. Because when I was sitting in between her legs, I felt the warmth from her vagina. And I could tell she was horny.
Okay, wait, Jenny, I'm so confused.
That's called being a vagina.
What is this character? Like, this character did a 180.
You know what I'm saying? He really thought that I was going to fuck him because my BB was hot.
That's how bodies work.
It was not that, I guarantee you.
I just don't understand him, though. He went from cringe boy to fuck boy in one conversation.
And how did he feel that through his million of cargo pockets?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. That's a lot of fabric. That's a fuck ton of fabric. Cargo shorts have way too much fabric. They're so thick.
Yes, I broke it off with him after that. I was like, oh, he thinks he can fuck me? Okay. And I called him. I'm like, yo, Mike. It was awkward. I broke up with him in my best friend's house through the phone. I was like, I heard you said this. No, I'm not going to fuck you. And then that was it.
Oh my God. God bless Jenny. You know how many people would be like insecure and be like, oh my God, like, what does that mean? No, you were like, yo, Mike, suck my dick. Bye. Actually, the opposite. Don't get away from it.
I was a soft ass with most of the boyfriends I dated, and like they usually broke up with me. But I think in this, I was just very stern about sex back then. I was like, bitch, because I hated overhearing conversations of like guys in my school talking about women like they were objects, like the whole rip and dip scenario. Like, oh yeah, I'm just basically smooth talking her so I can fuck her and move on. And when I knew how men operated, I wasn't stupid. I was like, I'm not gonna do this shit. I'm not gonna fuck you and your nasty ass so you can then walk away from me. So that's why I refused to fuck anyone in high school.
You know, I had like my heart was a little bit with Mike. I was like, oh my God, Mike clearly has like a thing for Jenny and he's trying too hard. But no, I think he was just doing what he thought he needed to do.
I think so too.
His redeeming qualities are just, they're dead to me now.
Yes.
And Mike is dead to me too.
Yeah.
I hope he still wears cargo shorts. You know?
Right.
I really think it fits his personality.
But see, we're so used to being around people that wear cargo shorts because we're in film. It's a very handy pant. But it's just weird to wear in high school, I guess. It's a weird fashion choice in high school.
How many things could you possibly need to carry? You're in high school.
I don't know.
Like, you don't even need a wallet. You know what I mean?
I think he had a dad wallet anyway.
Well, I love that your worst date is like someone trying too hard, because my worst date was someone trying 0%.
Great. I love this contrast.
God. Yeah.
How old are you?
I think it was around 20. I was on a dating site.
Mm-hmm.
See, I was Mujer Necesita. I was 20. I was on a dating site, and I was on J-Date, which is dating for Jews.
No, Joanna.
Yes. And I didn't really want to join it, but I had a couple like Jewish girlfriends that were like, oh my God, I met like such a good guy. Like it's a month free. You should try it. So I was like, yeah, all right, I'm going to give it a shot. So I opened it and I matched with this guy, and he was really funny in the conversation. So I was like, all right, I mean, at the very least, we'll hit it off and like, we'll laugh, you know? So we met up at this Mexican restaurant. He was like, I have an amazing date plan. Just like meet me at this Mexican restaurant. So we meet at this Mexican restaurant, and he looks absolutely nothing like his photos, and which is fine, I guess, except I didn't recognize him. And he got offended.
Oh no.
He was like, Joanna. And I was like, oh, sorry, do I know you? And he's like, yeah, it's me alone. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't recognize you. Offended immediately. And I was like, sorry, I just, you know, and I made it up. I was like, oh yeah, I don't have my glasses on. And he was like, you wear glasses? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and he wanted to like como que prove me. He's like, oh yeah, what's your like glass number? O sea, los números, like your glasses number, like, you know, what is your stigmatism? Like trying to prove me. And I'm like, one, I don't know the numbers. So I was like, anyway, let's just move on. By the way, he was also very short. He was like 5'5".
Oh my gosh.
I was like, this is just like not what I was expecting, but like let's just move along.
Well, compared to your height, yeah. I mean, I know it shouldn't matter, but yes, I get it.
You know, it was just like a little bit unexpected. So
yeah.
I order some food, whatever, we eat, and then the bill comes, and I obviously take out my credit card because, like, you know, I want to pay for half. And so he takes a credit card and he's like, okay, so you owe like $7 more because you had 2 Diet Cokes. So I'm just going to write it down. And I was like, you invited me here. Like, we should just split it. Like, you're really doing this for $7. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah, like, you're not even expecting him to pay for it.
No.
You're just wanting to split it down the middle.
Split it.
Yeah.
$7, you know what I mean? So then he was like, all right, I have a great next step. And by the way, in the conversation, his mom called twice. And I thought that was very weird. I just, like, things kept on adding up that I thought I was on Punk'd or something like that. I was like, and I'm not saying this like in retrospect. Like, in the moment, I was like, maybe this is a joke. Like, maybe this is a joke. Maybe I'm going to be on TV for the first time because, like, I the boiling points on MTV. Because he didn't ask me anything about me. And he just talked about himself. Anyway, so then he was like, yeah, we're going to go to this cool bar I know. So it's not a bar. It's a nightclub. And it's a Tuesday. Okay? And we go to this nightclub. It's fucking empty. It's a DJ. Es como que oscuro. And just like music pounding. We can't talk. I'm not going to dance. You know what I mean? I'm trying to yell. And he's shorter. So I'm like yelling down at him. Like as if I was like berating a child. And suddenly the women in this club take off their tops.
No, wait.
I don't know why. It was so confusing to me.
Like teta pa fuera.
Well, there was only like 4. It was only like 4 women, and they were like whoa, and they just teta afuera, like took like lifted their tops.
Was it Mardi Gras? What?
I don't know. I was like, and then he looked at me and he was like, "Are you gonna join?" And I was like, I also had a turtleneck on. It was winter. And I was like, yeah, no. And he was like, wait, why not? I thought you were fun. And I'm like, I mean,
thought you were fun.
I'm fun in the sense of like, oh, let's talk about The Office and reenact the scenes. Not like I'm going to show you my boobs in the middle of a fucking empty club while Pitbull is playing, bro. And I was like, it's Tuesday. Like, I thought we were going to have like a nice glass of wine somewhere. You know, my fake ID was working at the time. And I was like, you know, are you sure you want to like stay? And I was like, you know, maybe we should head out. So we start heading out and this guy starts telling me like, yo, you're like way prettier than I thought you were going to be. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. He was like, I thought maybe you were a catfish, but like, I think you're really nice and whatever. And then he goes, and I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, do you want to go to my house? And I was like, no, I mean, that's
okay. I thought he was about to throw up. You look like
no. He did. He had drank so much at the club. I think he was so nervous. He completely vomited. Like I could tell in the club he was
club vomitó.
Pero es que seguía pidiendo tragos. I had like maybe one or maybe two drinks. He was pounding them and it was like Long Island iced teas. This guy was getting drunk by himself in an empty club. Like it was just so weird. And I wanted to get out of there. The guy was vomiting and the bouncer was like, hey, you got to get this guy away from here. And I was like, no, I get it. I want to get away from here. So I like pulled him and there was a dog park in front. And I was like, just, and this is before Uber. Okay. And I was like, dude, you got to get home. And he's like, I want you to come home with me. I'm like, no, you got to get home.
Ew, dude.
And he was like, and I was like, where do you live? And he no puede hablar.
Oh my God.
Like, he's like that. I was like, what the fuck? And so I had to take his cell phone, call whatever number popped up. And I was like, hi, yeah, I'm so sorry. I just, I'm here with Alone. He's like here and, he's wasted. And it was just I just clicked on the first number. I was panicking. And obviously the last person that called him was his mom.
Ay, Dios mío.
So the mom was like, what did you do to my son? And I was like, I didn't do anything to your son. And she's like, what did you do to my son? What the fuck did you do? My son is a good boy. And I'm like, well, I don't know, man. Your fucking son had 4 Long Island iced teas. Okay. And he's 5'4". That's a lot. Okay. For a little man. And, she told me to call the police, which obviously I did not. So I just called him a taxi. I had to wait 20 minutes because that's what it was like back then. I called a taxi. I put him in the cab and I just closed the door and wished him the best. I was like, I don't think I ever want to do this.
Okay, dude, this sounds way worse than mine.
I mean,
you win, bro.
Yeah, the guy was weird.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And I think after that experience, I was like, having a partner is so not worth this torture. I'd rather just live my life. And I like deactivated all my dating profiles. I only got back on a dating profile like later on when I moved to New York, and I helped my husband set his OkCupid profile up and he helped me with mine. And then
Hilarious.
We did 2 dates and then we went out and made out and we were like, all right, the OkCupid thing was so terrible. Let's just try to make it work between us two.
When did you meet your husband?
Well, he was my best friend in college. So he heard about this horrible date. We were living in the same apartment.
Oh my God.
And he was like, oh my God, this is so bad, Joanna. Like, so
Dude, I'm
bad.
sorry. I'm so glad that I met my husband I also met my husband when I was 20. I am so mira, everyone's like, oh, you're missing out. Like, you should have dated more and you should have fucked more. I'm like, I don't care. That's a waste of my time.
I have to say.
Like, that's a waste of my fucking time.
I think I had a couple really good dates in my 20s. Like, dates that I'm like, you know what? Even if it didn't work out, this date was worth it. That's a couple of dates out of dozens that were awful. Like,
Yeah.
It was just like a minefield. I think that if I had to date now in my 30s, it would be different. I think that like in your 30s, you know what you want more. I think, that date, I felt like I did something wrong. I was like, oh my God, I pissed him off.
Of course. You're always gonna, yeah.
Then the moment the $7 thing happened, I would have been like, yo, I gotta go. You know what I mean? But I was like, I gotta give this guy a shot.
Yeah, that would have been enough to be like, all right, dude, like this is a bit much.
Like my friends that are now dating in their 30s, it's just so much clearer. Like they just know how to do it. And I think it's just overwhelming. I wonder how he remembers it. You know what I mean? I wonder how I don't know how he remembers it, but he never contacted me again. Thank God. But I think the funniest part for me was like, I tried to be the nicest person I could. I was not enjoying myself. And then the audacity of his mom claiming I like drugged him or something.
His mom, he wasn't a child.
He was older than me. He was like in med school.
Wait, hold on. He was older?
He was way older. He was like 6 or 7 years older. Yeah.
So he was like 26, 27 years old?
Yeah.
Joanna. Joanna.
Yeah. It was, and honestly, that was an amalgam of bad things, but
you should have brought that up from the beginning.
I forgot. I honestly saw he looked like such a young kid. I was like, oh, did he lie about being a med student? And then he showed me his ID and I was like, oh, I guess this is real. But then again, I had a fake ID that like worked. I don't know if he got a fake medical student ID, probably not. But yeah, it was bad, man. And I wish we could spend hours talking about other dates, but like that's like probably the worst one because I like yours. There was 3 acts to it because we just persisted in just making sure we didn't piss them off. Like it was just like, all right, I'll just continue.
Yeah, it's awkward because you don't want to hurt. I hate that about myself, and so many of us are that way though, you know. We don't want to hurt feelings and we kind of stick it out.
I remember that later that week, I lived in a building with 2 other apartments that were filled with our friends. And one of my girlfriends just brought home a dude to like have a drink, like not like with all of us. And the guy just assumed something else. And my husband and my friend Daniel had to like kick him out. They were like, yo, you gotta get out of here, bro. Like it's 3 a.m. We're all going to bed and like you're not welcome here. And the guy started, like, a normal person would be like, all right, man, peace. He just took all the recycling bottles and started breaking them around our building like firecrackers. And you know what the sad part is? The date I described to you was terrible, but I was like, hey, at least Alone isn't like this guy. Like for a moment I was like, I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't this bad. Oh my God.
Well, I hope y'all were entertained.
We should do this again. We should do our second worst dates.
We really should, because I have more. And
I have so much more, Jenny.
There, you know, and people are probably like, but how many dates, bro? You like met David when you were 20. I'm like, yeah. Yes, I probably have gone on way less dates than most people who are still single in their 30s. Yes, but I still dated a lot in high school. Most of them were just public school boys that I met at like quinceañeras.
I started dating my husband at like 25, and I think from 22 to 25, I was desperately trying to find one person who didn't fuck it up. Like on the first, just like terrible one after another. We'll talk about this again soon.
Yes.
So Jenny, if you were still dating, what would be the dating site you would want to use?
Like if we made one up?
Yeah.
My ideal dating site, if I was single today, would be for geeky hipsters who are bisexual.
Hey, you're probably gonna get a pretty fun dates out of that, I'd say.
Or just look through all of Los Angeles.
That's what Los Angeles is made out of.
Yeah.
I love that. I hope that someone listens to you and makes this website come true.
The geeky bisexual hipster dating app.
I think my dating app would be like, I always had this problem where everyone I was nice to, because I'm really friendly, because I love friends, I love having friends, thought I was flirting with them. Oh my God, sorry, I just remembered the second worst date just from what I just said. Oh my God. Okay, we have to do another episode. It was so bad. Okay, I think I'd want like, if this don't work out, we be friends.com. And it's just people wanting to be friends with other people, maybe other extroverts or maybe introverts just wanting to be friends and then like hoping that maybe they hit it off. But like, I don't want the pressure of romance being like necessarily what we stumble upon. And I love talking to people and I love making friends. So that's what I would want. I want a little friendly website where romance isn't necessarily an expectation. And then we could become BFFs.
That sounds pretty perfect.
Sounds perfect for me. Jenny is like, absolutely not.
I could never be friends with anybody that I date.
Actually, everyone I've had a serious relationship with started off as like a good friend.
Hilarious.
I think that's just my MO, you know? I'm like, yeah, you know, you're going to want to hang out with me but not touch me for like 3 years and then you're going to like me.
You might just be demisexual.
What's that? Demi Lovato sexual?
It's like in the asexuality spectrum, but it's basically you're not super sexually attracted to someone until you really get to know them. Like you have to form a deep bond with someone first before you really feel feelings for them. So I've always felt that I could also possibly be demisexual because everybody that I ever was in a serious relationship with, like the ones that I really had feelings for, it wasn't instant at all. It took knowing them, forming a bond, and that's when I realized, oh shit, I'm attracted to them. So that's actually a thing.
You know, I wish that was the case for me, but my first boyfriend who absolutely broke my heart, the only thing I knew about him was that he was hot and he liked the color red.
Great. You know? Yo, if that's what does it for you, girl.
Andres, if you're listening now, I'd love to know more about you. We really didn't do much talking. I really did enjoy our time together, though.